Greeting algo artisans, the markets are busy. We're going to look at Bitcoin, TONCOIN, and KASPA. We're going to jump to the charts right now. Quick reminder that nothing we say in any of our videos, work, or website is to be used or construed as investment advice. Please consult a licensed investment advisor before risking your money on the markets because you can lose your money. It's risky. Okay, so let's go ahead and start with Bitcoin. Bitcoin made a move up this morning, and at the time I was looking at a possible breakout to the upside, but I did tell everybody that I was not going to trade it just yet. And this was during the private live lab. So the move up that we saw, the impulse, goes from here to here on the chart. So what I would do is use a couple of different tools to take a look at where it might go to the upside and to the downside. First, I'm going to use a fib, retracement, and extension tool. This is just a fib retracement tool that I've added some extensions to. And if you want to know more about what that is, what that means, come to algofactory.tech. So we have our upper targets. If price were to continue upward, we've got a target here at 272. It's a little hard to see because of what I have on the chart, but it's basically at 68,700, and there is liquidity there from some prior data that we had on the chart. And of course, up here at the top in this 618, the 1.618 is right up at 72,000, top of the high time frame consolidation that we've been looking at for several months now. However, it does look as if price was not ready to move up. At the time of the show this morning, I had drawn out a range. Price was floating back and forth, and so had it broken out, we would have seen some moves to the upside. However, it did not break out, and I did tell everybody I was going to hold off on entering until I had my algos line up. And I do have alerts ready to tell me when that is, and it's a good thing that I obey my algos because price actually broke down. So let's zoom in. You can see how price actually tried to break out. It's a big wick to the upside, and then it's a push down. Means basically the bulls just did not have enough, and price is probably going to move down to grab some liquidity. So we can use our fib retracement tool to look at some areas where it might do so. We know that there is liquidity down below 60,000. However, 61,000 has held pretty well, so there's a decent chance price will not go below that. If this is a very bullish move, then we might see a 382 pullback. Whereas 382 right there, that's a Fibonacci level where oftentimes if something is a very strong bullish to the upside, price may simply kiss that and head back up. However, the 618 is pretty close to this base right here of that 61,000, 60,000. So price may head down that direction and merely grab some liquidity down here. And there's always that chance that price heads down below that. However, the algos are telling me that there's more of a probability that price stays above 61,000 for the meantime. Now, anything can happen. Things can change pretty quick, but that's what it's saying right now. So let's take a look at the volume nodes using our fixed range volume profile right along that same impulse. And we can see here below the 382, there's not a lot of volume in this area, which means that price will not want to go there. It's got no reason to go there. So if things are bullish enough, price might simply reject after touching that 382, which would be an indication of bullishness in general on the midterm. So we may see price drop down, head back up to those upper targets, very possible. Now there is more liquidity down below, same thing that we talked about, the 618, the 786. These are areas the price might dip to. If they did, at this point, I think it would be short-lived. I don't think the price would go much below that. However, if price did make it down that way, I would reevaluate at that time to see if I changed my mind, because as these candles print, more data comes on the charts and everything changes. So for now, what it looks like to me is the price will probably grab this liquidity that's in this area where you see those volume nodes popping out. Decent place for price to grab liquidity, and I think it'll move back up. I think it'll reject off this area where there is no liquidity and it'll head back up. That's what I think will happen. But let's also take a look at the Kingfisher and see what it says about the liquidations, which is another form of liquidity. Okay, so let's refresh the chart and we'll see that there's liquidity topside and a little farther below. Most of the liquidity down here on the Kingfisher chart is going to be around 58,000, maybe a little higher than that, and down below 57, 55. And this is below where I think price is going to go. However, it very well could. We don't know, but I will go ahead and just mark these lines here. This does change throughout the day and the week, so these will probably disappear as price makes larger moves. But for now, what this means is a lot of people are long, a lot of people think that price will go up, and their stop losses are below down here. And in fact, it's not really stop losses, it's liquidations. But if they know what they're doing, their stop losses will be in that area as well. And the people who run the exchanges know that that's where they want to push price to make money. However, price has to want to go in that direction in the first place, so we don't have to worry about them pushing it too hard unless the charts call for a move down. High time frame algos right now now don't have that for me. The high time frame algos right now say the price wants to go up in the midterm. Liquidity is very close to the upside. We have about 64,000 to 64,400. Put ourselves a little block right there, and that is just above price inside of this consolidation. And then we also have a little more from about 65,000 to 65,500, so roughly in this area. So if price were to decide to turn around, if price grabbed liquidity, whether it be here or somewhere else, and if it did in the near term and that liquidity was still there, then there's a good chance price will actually bounce back up to grab this liquidity. And if it does grab liquidity up in this area, which is above that prior consolidation, more or less, we might be looking at our breakout. So if I were to develop a trade plan at this time, I would look at it like this. I'm going to zoom out a little bit, going to remove some data, and as of now, I would look at price grabbing liquidity right about here, headed up to grab this liquidity, and then up to these areas. Now, I don't think it's going to happen in a straight line. There's a good chance price will come back down, but eventually make its way up to there. And that's probably what will happen. And this actually would be a head and shoulders bottom, which would have a very sharp slope to the neckline. So it probably wouldn't give us a whole lot of room for target, but it would be a bullish move under any circumstance. Now, there's always a chance that price does dive down for more liquidity. That can happen, but right now it's not quite as likely due to all the factors that we discussed. This means that most of crypto is probably going to follow this pattern. Now we have this as kind of a template. Let's take a look at TONCOIN. So TON has been in a consolidation on the daily for some time, going back to early June, and price has stayed above about 680 pretty well. Despite Bitcoin pulling back, you do see wicks come down for TON, but TON seems to be protecting 680. There's plenty of price action, plenty of liquidity in those areas, right? So for now, quick look at the algos for TON here. I think TON is going to go a little sideways. Until Bitcoin really breaks out, we're going to see more of a range for TON. There's just a fair amount of resistance overhead. However, even though there tend to be a little bit of bearishness in the algos, TON continues to stay above 680. So you're probably going to see TON go sideways until it doesn't. And I think it'll be to the upside when it doesn't. I think we'll see a breakout to the upside. And it's a decent chance that if Bitcoin breaks out, TON will break out with it. However, we have seen new highs with TON while Bitcoin was not breaking out. So TON may not feel the need to wait for Bitcoin. It could just simply break out to the upside. And if we see a breakout above $8.35, we can expect a move up to $9.24 and then $10.50. Those are my two Fibonacci high time frame moves up, right? So I looked at this high time frame impulse, did a Fibonacci extension on a prior show, and those targets still hold. This is still legitimate high time frame targets. So let's move over to KASPA, one of my favorites. So KASPA seems to have been developing a bullish pattern here, and it's popped up a little bit higher. If you look at a lower time frame, I'd say that this would be more appropriate like this. So this is what's called a bullish ascending triangle, and that means that a lot of my estimates, when measured properly, are not going to change, at least price action wise, from the prior show last time I looked at this. However, I think I was not quite generous enough last time that I drew this with the top of this triangle. So that said, I think that our upside targets once KASPA breaks out are probably going to be something like 21 cents and just above 23 cents. Now this pattern tells a story, this triangle. What it means is that the bulls came up, the bears defended 19 cents, price came back down, the bulls caught on sooner, price came up, the bears defended 19 cents, came back down, the bulls caught up sooner. We'll probably see the bulls continue to catch up until they break through that 19 that the bears have been protecting. So that said, once that breaks out, we're probably going to see price maybe do a quick pullback, maybe, and then grab 20 cents, 21 cents, and move its way up to 23 cents. And this may be coincidental with the Bitcoin breakout above its all-time high, and it may not, because despite what Bitcoin's been doing, KASPA has been continuing up going back since before June. It's been on a solid incline since the beginning of May. So KASPA itself seems to be outperforming everything else. Therefore, I think it might not have to wait for Bitcoin. And that's all we have time for today. I hope this video was helpful. Please come over to algofactory.tech. We teach people how to build their own trading method, otherwise known as an algorithm. You don't have to know how to code, but if you do code, we can put you on the path to where you can build something that trades for you while you're not at the computer. If you just want to trade manually, which is what most people are doing, then that is, of course, something that we can help you do and help you have the capability to possibly extract money out of these markets on a regular basis. And while we do focus on crypto for a lot of these videos, I'm actually primarily a Forex trader, and you got to know that crypto doesn't go forever. it goes for about a year, year and a half, and then for a couple of years, there's not much going on in crypto. And if you want to be a trader, you're going to want to understand how to really trade, how to put on those big boy pants, because what's going to happen is eventually crypto's going to flatten out and the meme coins aren't going to be what they used to be, most likely. I've seen it enough times. I've been in this game since 2017. I don't expect that to change. So come on over, learn how to trade. As a matter of fact, we got some pretty happy customers who are already down the path of success in their algo building. Let's hear from one of those right now.
This is Think Free's Algo Factory testimonial. I began my prescription for Algo Factory the summer of 2023. I am now 70 years old and I have set a goal to have a supplementary income by learning to trade. I have been putting in about 3 to 4 hours per week of study time. In spite of this small time of commitment, I am determined to learn to trade. I set a goal of slow, steady progress in my learning. It is now March of 2024, and I have been delighted that through the articulate speech and hands-on help and support from Cowboy, I have developed an algo that looks very promising. I've come to appreciate Cowboy's remarkable ability to communicate and teach. He's not just knowledgeable, but also very creative in his shoot-from-the-hips approach. I wonder, is that where the name Cowboy came from? I have followed the Algo Cowboy and V the Guerrilla Economist for more than 3 years and have found them to be very respectful, caring, and firmly rooted in reality. By that I mean they have a clear, deep, no-nonsense understanding of the world we live in, not just in trading and economics, but geopolitically and, dare I say, spiritually as well. For me, this fact makes working with them all the more gratifying and secure. This has and continues to be a great investment of my time and money. Also ends up being fun with the humor that is shared amongst our Algo Factory group members. Thank you, Cowboy.
Don't forget, algofactory.tech. Trade your job, upgrade your life, and we'll see you on the next one.